All right, here we go. Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Here we are. It is time for Thriving Live, and I am your host, Gabrielle Senza. And we are streaming to Facebook. And let me just reduce that because it's so huge. If you happen to get onto Facebook and start watching this, please say hello. Hello in the chat. And how you're feeling and where you're here from, where you're tuning in from. So I am here at my studio in Great Barrington and just got off the road. I did a quick drive out to Ware, Massachusetts. Where is where, you might ask? It's out near Amherst and Springfield area. So I went out on the turnpike, dropped off some artwork for an exhibition that's opening on the 24th. The reception's actually in October. And it's called WOW, Wild Ornery Women. And has another bunch of names like Wild Ornery Women. What else? I can't think of them right now. Anyway, there's some good fun play on words. And on that WOW, all women in the show, as you might imagine. And it's curated by my friend Terry Rooney, who's out in the Amherst area, and she's quite an amazing artist herself. So yeah, it was kind of interesting to walk around that tiny town. It's a tiny little depressed New England town, and a couple of artists here and there trying to create what's missing, right? So yeah, that's always been my experience too. Like if there's something in a place that, or if there's not the thing that one is desiring to have in one's life or in one's locale, why not create it? So that's pretty much how I've done most of the cool things that I've done, like start the art gallery in Housatonic. We had this amazing studio a long time ago, back in the early 90s. Yeah. And I started a big contemporary art gallery there, which then grew to gain quite a reputation throughout the US, as well as even internationally a little bit. I just lit some sage to try to clear the air, settle me, bring in some spirit energy. Yeah, time to get centered, time to get grounded. So as you may or may not know, this is my weekly show called Thriving Live. And the idea is to help people create the juicy, exciting life that they desire, and kind of show by example how I've done it in the past or what I've learned about and have seen other people do. And so I'm here for that. And as an empowerment coach and accelerated evolution and erratic blueprint coach, I have some amazing skills that are lots of fun to put into practice. And they can come in handy in so many different ways and can be used in all the different parts of our lives. So it's not just for the intimacy or for the personal development, it's that and way much more. So that's usually what I try to bring to the show each week, something that's going on. This week, this is episode number 27. Oh my gosh, 27. So, you know what that means? That means I've been doing this for more than half of a year. That's pretty awesome. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself because I wasn't sure I could even stick to a weekly program. And that's why I was putting off creating a show and committing to that and doing that every single week. And yet here we are, 27 weeks later. Maybe I've missed one or two because of like circumstances that I was not able to change or control. So maybe I missed one or two, but anyway, still more than half a year and pretty close to 27 weeks. So I'm excited about that, and I'm celebrating that just simply by acknowledging it. And for me, that is a big achievement, really. So let's go into the pleasure first, which, as you may know, is where I always like to begin. Certainly with any coaching I do or any workshops I do, I always bring in the pleasure first practice to help us ground and get located in our bodies and in our space and in this place and let everything else go, which is similar to what you might experience in a yoga session or, you know, any number of things. So no special magic there. What form of pleasure do I want to provide or experience today? Let me check in for a second here. Well, I just had an amazing session with one of my clients, one of my very special clients. We've worked together for 10 months. It was actually our last session this past week, and it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I have so many proud coach moments to see how courageously and beautifully and fully this client was able to step into all the self-discovery and these places of discomfort, but mainly discomfort because it was not familiar, right? You know what I'm talking about? Those scary places sometimes are only scary or uncomfortable because they're not familiar. And so that practice that I often bring into the pleasure first, which I think I might do today, actually. And I'll save that other one that I was going to do for another day, so I can have more people on live with me to do it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This one actually is pertinent because, you know, we're so accustomed to looking for, paying attention to dangers or discomforts, and we're often trying to avoid them. And as I was just saying, many times the discomfort only comes from the fact that it's unfamiliar, not because it literally hurts. Do you follow me? It's not to say that we don't have true discomfort that's physical, painful, emotional pain. It's not to say that we do have that. But we're often geared to, as our habit as humans, to pay attention more to the things that don't feel good, that don't feel good physically in our bodies or in our minds. Like we might continue to brood or dwell on things that are stuck in our brains, that emotional pain. And as well as in our environments, like, oh, what's not working? What isn't going right? Oh, this thing at work. Oh, this thing in my relationship. Oh, this thing at home. Oh, this, you know, my car, or whatever it is, like that. And we might tend to put a lot more attention on that than is necessary, frankly. And also in doing so, it keeps us distracted, focused on just that one thing, instead of allowing ourselves to think about, consider, be open to, and experience other things that are pleasant, right? That do feel good, that are going well. Um, uh, like, for example, using myself as an example, right now I feel a little bit exhausted, worn out, probably from the drive. I was also talking um, to a friend who's in France, and in order for her to hear me over the car phone system, I had to speak quite loudly. And so my voice and my throat is a little sore and uncomfortable. Um, haven't yet grounded myself back into my space. Um, so there's a little bit of physical discomfort. There's a lot of energy moving around in my body. Um, and there are things that my brain is picking up and is a little critical of. Is like, oh, look, there's that big blank spot on the wall. I should have put something there, or I could have put something there, or it looks, whatever. Have judgments around that, or like, oh, I haven't gotten rid of those bags of things there yet. You know what I mean? So all that chit chat, that sort of busy brain inner critic that's like assessing everything and judging everything. So, is that fun? No, it's totally not fun. Is it a productive use of my time to dwell or to think about those things? Not really. So there are a couple of things I can do. One is we will, I'll, I'll lead a grounding practice, a little meditation. But also just off the top of my head, I will say like, oh yes, so there's another part of my brain that's saying, there's the critical one that was saying all those things and also feeling and experiencing these things. There's also the part that says, oh yeah, well, check it out. That plant is still alive. Oh my God, that's really cool. Because I haven't done so well with plants in a long time. And so I've actually been reluctant, very hesitant to actually adopt any or purchase any. And when I was in Kingston a few weeks ago, I actually decided to go ahead and purchase 3 plants for the studio. And the good news is they're all still alive. So I'm really excited about that. That one back there in the green, that it's obviously green, but anyway, that one back there is looking quite fine. And another thing, what else can I pick up that is like feels good? Like I love seeing that painting in the background. I've lived with it for so long, so many years. I created it in 2007. It has been in and out of the studio for exhibitions and so on for a number of different times. And I just feel so grateful that I get to live with that when it is here in my space and I get to look at it. Well, what else can I appreciate? I can appreciate the light that's coming into my studio. I can appreciate the fact that I have such an amazing studio and I have places where each area has a different function. And so for the first time in my life, my studio is organized the way I really want it to be, and that helps support me in being efficient and creative and continuously inspired. So I have a lot to be grateful for. It's also in this amazing location right here on Railroad Street in Great Barrington. So yeah, and being in Ware, Massachusetts earlier today and looking at that town, seeing like has a lot of empty storefronts. It's quite a depressed little town. But, like all towns, it has potential, you know, rent is really low. It's probably similar to what it used to be back in the 80s and 90s here. Maybe less even, who knows? Anyway, all that being said, we can always look around and take a moment to appreciate what is working and not always focus on what isn't working. Right? And we're going to go into this guided meditation here in a minute. And I want you to notice as you go into the practice, like looking around, either literally with your eyes or in your mind's eye, reflecting on the things that you are satisfied with, and especially the things that help you feel content. Because the more we're aware of when and where and how we experience contentment, and we can stay in that space in our mind or in our physical world, the more we get to experience that contentment, right? And I've talked about this before. You will see that the more you practice that, the more you will have, the more contentment you will experience, because we are signaling to the universe, like, oh, we really appreciate this. I really enjoy this. I really adore whatever the thing is, like sitting on my meditation couch and staring out the window, or reading a book near that painting. I really adore the light coming in and hitting the leaves of my plant and helping it be healthy and alive. So I know I'm going on and on about a lot of things, but I wanted to bring that into your awareness, into your consciousness, before we begin the meditation practice. So, I do this one a lot, and I do it for all the reasons I just said, and that by bringing into our awareness what feels good, we get to A, enjoy it, and B, experience more of it. So today, as we go into this pleasure first practice, let's pay attention to it. Try it out, see how it feels for you. Okay. So settling in wherever you are, if you're sitting, settle into your seat and feel your sit bones supported on the chair or the couch or the whatever you're sitting on, the floor or cushion, your bed. Feel yourself grounding into and using gravity to help you settle into your seat. If you're standing, allow the gravity to bring your body and your weight to center and settle into your feet, and noticing where you're supported. Just take some long, slow, deep breaths. You don't have to do any special counting or any special posture. Just allowing yourself to feel your seat or your feet supported. Allow yourself to feel gravity drawing down your shoulders into a relaxed. Just let your shoulders go. You can drop your jaw. You can loosen and relax your mouth. Relax your throat. Allowing yourself to notice, but without any kind of attachment, any sounds or thoughts or sensations that come through, to just move on like a leaf on the surface of a river. It just is there for a moment and then it just passes you by. There's no need to try to catch it, to examine it. Just let it pass by. And with every breath, you can even sigh if you want on the exhale. With every exhale, allow yourself to get more and more relaxed. So here you are in a relaxed state, allowing thoughts and sounds and distractions to just pass by like the clouds. There's nothing to be done about them. Nothing to fix, nothing to judge, they just pass by. So from this relaxed place, in this state, imagine bringing your awareness through from the top of your head, down through your head, very slowly down to your jaw, slowly allowing your awareness to move through your body, very, very slowly. And instead of going with the tendency to notice what doesn't feel good, look for the things that do feel good. It could be so slight, so subtle. Just see where they show up as you gently scan your awareness through your body. Slow, easy breath. Continuing to relax. Kind of taking an inventory of the places that feel pretty good or exceptionally good or just comfortable. And passing over the little things that might not feel so comfortable, any tenseness and so on. You can just pass by those as though they're just, they're like the clouds, or you're like a cloud in this case. Noticing if there's anything that feels good as you move your awareness through your arms or through your torso or your chest or your abdomen or your groins, through your genitals and your legs. You might feel like tingly sensations or warmth or some other kind of like pleasant sensation, almost like a tickle. For me, it's often like a little ticklish sensation, but from inside. Allow your awareness to go all the way through your body and through your legs, down through your ankles and feet. Now thinking about the inventory you just took of the places that feel good, either exceptionally good or really delicious, or just even just okay and comfortable. If you couldn't find something that was like delicious, that's totally fine. We're building awareness. We're building our capacity to notice the subtle inner workings of our bodies and of our minds and even of our spirit, of our souls. Because the more we can tune into the subtle, the easier it is to pick up on the cues, the signs, the intuitions, the pleasures, the joy, the sensations. So when reviewing the inventory you just took of places that feel kind of good or really good, inside your body or outside your body, surface or interior, choose one of those spots to just sort of be with, to observe, to feel into it more. How would you describe it? How much space is it taking up in your body? That part that feels good or delicious or just pretty good. Noticing the textures and sensations that come with it, come with your observing of it. This is an interior observing, right? Not visible, something we can see. Now imagine as we sit there with it, observing it, experiencing it, that little feel-good sensation wherever it showed up. For me, I have it right in my underarm, right under my shoulder, right in this area. Almost my armpit, but not quite. So for me, it's kind of like this pattern. If you see it, it's not fast, like a tingly sensation. It's more like that. And in my mind's eye, I can also see it's has many surfaces. It's almost like it's a three-dimensional thing, but that's not important. It's just paying attention to how it feels, how you describe it. So warm, tingly, still, or movement. And just continuing to breathe naturally. Imagine that with your breath, with each breath, it grows larger. That feel good sensation, that either delicious sensation or just a pretty okay, comfortable situation, one part of your body that feels good. And feel it expand with your breath. So it takes up more space in your body. You get to use this sensation as fuel, as energy, right? You get to expand your pleasure and what feels good simply by bringing your awareness to it and allowing yourself to really feel it and experience it, to grow it larger through your body or around your body. See how large you can make it. Does it just fill the inside of your awareness of your body? Or does it also expand beyond? And now you can feel it in many sections of your body, even outside, pressing in or touching in or tickling or whatever the sensation is. Nice, slow, easy breaths. Expanding that pleasure, that sensation. So you can grow it as much as you'd like to. Stick with it for a little bit longer. You can also bring it back. You can either continue expanding it if you wish, or you can bring it back around you like an orb or a blanket, or you can bring it back inside and put it in your heart, or let it stay where it originated. And I just want you to recognize that you have the capacity to expand your own contentment, your own happiness and well-being, simply by allowing yourself to experience it more fully in the moment. Right? We so quickly want to divert our attention to what isn't working, or what's wrong, or what's the next thing I need to solve. And maybe we don't have to do that 100% of the time. Maybe we're in a position in our lives, if we're fortunate enough to have a few moments like this, to really be in our experience of pleasure, of rest, of tingly sensation, whatever it is, right? And savor it, not as in the sense of like, oh my gosh, it's going to disappear, or there's just so little of it. Not like that. It's infinite. We just grew it out of nothing. We just expanded it to fill our whole body and our whole orb, and possibly your whole room or something. I didn't guide us through that, but there have been times when I've been in that practice and have found myself like way out in the universe, like literally way up with the stars, in terms of the capacity of how much pleasure, how much I was able to expand my pleasure and sense of well-being. And if I can do that, you can too. I just know you can. Maybe even better than I can. And it's not a contest, obviously, but it's such a delightful practice, and it's so easy, and it's free, and it's available at any time. We can do it on an elevator. We can do it while standing online. We can do it in the car, not with our eyes closed, obviously, but you know, we can access pleasure almost in every moment. And maybe if not pleasure, at least peace and stillness, which for me is very much akin to pleasure, because personally I adore peace and stillness and silence and solitude. I love it. It feeds me. And maybe that doesn't feed you. Maybe you need activity to feel more alive. And maybe you don't. Maybe that's a way of distracting yourself from something deeper that you can't hear because of the activity or the noise or the concerns or the thoughts that like lead us to just be busy in our heads all the time. Maybe so, maybe not. That is part of the fun investigation that I would encourage you, anybody, to do, to practice, to play with. Let's see. So that was our delicious pleasure first. There are a few announcements that are coming up with details in the future, probably in the next episode. And it will be about some in-person possibilities. So some VIP days I'm planning out for the West Coast in October. I'll be out there. Dan and I will both be out there. And so we may be, or I may be making some space for some in-person experiences. So that's one thing. And then there's some other exciting things that I am getting ready to announce, waiting for the details to be tied up before I can announce them. And then I can actually share the details as well, like logistics and how to access things and all that kind of good stuff. So there's more to come. I'm very excited. Keep your eye here and also on the social media pages, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all of that. That's where I'll be pasting things or posting things. And yeah, there's so many practices to be used on a daily basis anytime that we need kind of a reset or want a reset. If we're dwelling too much in our heads about what isn't working, what we don't like, right? By dwelling and paying attention on things that don't work, we are telling the universe, this is occupying our mind and this is what we're choosing to think about. And the universe could very well say like, hey, I guess she likes thinking about these things. Let's give her more of these things to think about, more like things that aren't working out, right? So like, who wants that? Think about the things that are working, that you do appreciate, that you do love, and allowing yourself to really feel into them and experience them and, you know, feel them fully. Again, it's not to like bypass your true emotions and your feelings. We need to go into our feelings and allow for them to happen and to be okay. You know, if there's something that's making us terribly sad, we need to experience our sadness. If something made us really upset and angry, or we're terribly disappointed about something, we can have those feelings. We're meant to have those feelings and experience them. We just don't want them to then sort of take over our life or a day or a week or a month or, you know, like all of that time, because we're not meant to just be spending all our time on emotions. Oh, Ani's here. Hey, cool. So yeah, so we're not meant to hang out and be sort of overwhelmed by those emotions. Have the emotions, allow them to process through, and then find ways to help ourselves get back to center, get grounded, find some joy, something we can appreciate in our lives, right? So for example, yesterday, I had this experience where I was waiting for something to be delivered in the mail, and it came and it was slightly damaged, and there's not enough time for me to replace it for what I needed it to be for, right? So I was pretty distressed about it, and it was kind of like it was beginning to ruin my whole day. And it's like I knew I had so much more to do in my day to prepare for the work I was, you know, doing, is preparing for an exhibition and getting the work and the paperwork and all the things ready for the exhibition. So I couldn't afford the time to continue dwelling on the thing that didn't work out well, the thing I was disappointed in. And yet it kept grabbing my attention and it kept making me feel bad. And I remember even like almost bursting into tears when I started talking to somebody about something else entirely. Like I was just so upset about it. So after I finished that conversation, I decided to use the tapping technique, the emotional freedom technique, to help process the emotion and the disappointment and, all of that frustration, so that then I could move on. So that practice took what, like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, just starting with like tapping on the karate point, saying like, even though I'm really frustrated and terribly disappointed right now, I still can completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm terribly disappointed about this situation, I still love and accept myself. Even though I'm super frustrated and super disappointed about this, I still deeply love and accept myself. And then I went through like feeling a lot of disappointment. I'm really angry. This is the third time it's happened. Super disappointed, so frustrating, tapping all the different points through the emotional freedom technique. So if you haven't used it, I definitely encourage you to check it out. Go to the Tapping Solution website. I think it's called the Tapping Solution. Trying to think of the people that run it. He wrote this fabulous book. He and his sister run the company. Check it out. They have great free tutorials. There's even an app that they have, and you can get the free version. I use it periodically. And they just help you kind of go through all these different points. And there's no like hard science, no hard like rules that you have to follow. There are a lot of different people teaching emotional freedom technique. It's really funny. I keep wanting to say erotic freedom instead of emotional freedom, but anyway, maybe it's because I'm thinking about erotic blueprints and empowerment and stuff like that, which is awesome subject matter. Of course, it's great material. And that reminds me, I will be sharing more of that in these episodes coming up. I'm pretty sure that I have come up with what might be a pretty good way of organizing the show, the sections, and the topics. Still to be determined. Anyway, if you have some ideas or some wishes or desires, what you would like to see, hear, or experience on the show, I would love to hear them. And if you want to be live on the show and get some actual coaching with me, you would just need to go and register at the Thriving Live link. So it's bit.ly/Thriving Live, all one word. No capitalized things, just bit.ly/Thriving Live. And then that would give you the registration. You can come on to any of the shows, and then it would be a Zoom room and you would be on view live with me, and then I could see you, which would be super cool. And we've had that a few times, and it's super fun when that happens. So I am going to sign off pretty soon, unless you have a question you want to throw it in the chat. Ani, I don't know if you're still listening. But if you are, and you have something you want to share, go ahead and put it in the chat. And if not, what I'm going to do is sign off for today. I've shared my tools and my topics, and we are not going to do Q&A or wins, insights, and learnings. I've shared some of mine. If you did any of these practices with me today, I would love to hear your wins, insights, or learnings from the session. And you can always put those in the comments, either in Facebook or on YouTube once I get the episode loaded. And also let me know if this would be interesting just simply to listen to, like as audio, if that's something that would be interesting to you. So also look for, as I mentioned before, I have some announcements coming up, and you will see them on the social medias, some about exhibitions, some about in-person events, and some other fun opportunities I can't think of at the moment. Okay, my loves, I adore you so, so much, and I really hope to hear from you at some point soon. And I give you a big, big hug. All right, take good care. Lots of love. Bye.